Oh! All right, guys, welcome to the back nine of my practice round out here at Idlewild Disc Golf Course. All right, to start us off, hole 10, we got a 368-foot par 3, probably one of the most challenging par 3s on the course. And it plays a lot further than 368. I would say it plays more like 440 because of the uphill slope the whole way. And your discs are gonna be way more stable. So I'm throwing probably my flippiest drive, knowing that it's gonna pop up flat and even hyzer. Whereas normally this thing is gonna burn over and roll to the right. But I know the stability is gonna increase because of the uphill slope. And so we'll see how this reacts. It's a little too much turn, but throw one more here. I'm gonna throw a trespass on this one. So this one's obviously another Lucid Ice Orbit trespass. I'm gonna throw it nice and hyzer. That first one I kind of turned it over a little bit. A little flippy still. Got a good little kick, but I'm throwing a little bit too flippy just because I know it's going uphill, and so I'm just choosing a little bit too much of an understable disc, kind of disking down a little too much. So now I'm just gonna throw one of my normal rives. That one got a little lucky through the gap, but we'll go up there and try to scramble our way to a par. All right, so I'm gonna play out my first one. And I don't mind doing this because this is a pretty common spot to land. This is such a tight hole that, yeah, you're not gonna hit the gap every time. And so scrambling is important, so it's good to practice. All right, throw a nice smooth felon shot. We got like a nice gap, a tough gap to hit, but totally doable. So there we go. Now that's how you scramble for par over here on hole 10. If you hit a tree, I know I'm gonna get a par. So, no, the other good thing about scrambling is it makes you more confident as a driving the disc as well. Because you know if you hit a tree, hey, if I mess up, I got scrambling skills I can rely on. Not that you wanna mess up, but you know in the back of your head that you can save a par from a lot of different tough spots on this hole or on the course. So it gives you more confidence to be aggressive. As you can see, I threw 3 drives and didn't get any inside the circle, which is, like I said, throwing inside the circle on this hole is tough. Doesn't mean you still can't get a birdie though. 3 times worse luck. Oh, oh, we got the roll away. No. All right, see if I can save my par. Oh, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough par save, but I think I got it. Mark it here. Oh yeah, we got that. So four-hander, par save here. Oh, almost saved the par. Oh, that would have been fun. All right, hole 11, we got a 242-foot par 3, slight downhill. We got a raised basket, and we got a tunnel shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw a nice forehand harp, kind of similar to the similar hole 2 holes ago where it kind of banks down the hill, similar distance, just a straighter flight instead of a hyzer. So just focus on keeping my harp nice and straight through this gap. Didn't keep it straight. I hyzered it a little bit. So this time I'm just gonna kind of try to turn my wrist a little bit more, keep it through that gap, more centered. There we go, that's a little better. So even if I hyzer out like I'm gonna right there, still fine. I still got about a 20-footer or so. As you can see, it's a touchy hole. I hit the gap 1 out of 3 times. Definitely a hole you want a birdie. So yeah, you definitely don't want to be getting a par on this hole. You're gonna be losing strokes to a lot of people. But yeah, you know, this might be a type of hole where I come up and try standstill forehand instead of a run up, and make little adjustments like that to see which one I'm hitting the gap better with. My tour manager actually aced this hole yesterday. We played like 6 holes after we got here. Smashed this hole with an Explorer, so shout out to Fern. Good ace, buddy. I haven't even aced this hole yet. You got me on that one. So this one is a hyzer a little bit in the woods. So a little sketchy putt. Nothing we can't handle though. 3 in a row. But yeah, that's the harp that hyzer a little bit too much. It's easy to do on this hole because you really just want to hit the gap, and whatever happens after that happens. So yeah, hole 11 right there. All right, now we got hole 12, 582 foot par 4, dog legs to the right. We got this Mando. You kind of want to throw a flex forehand at the Mando tree and kind of just fade, skip around the corner to the right to put yourself in a good spot. I'm gonna go with 2 lucid glimmer felons here. Just a nice, I'm throwing like a chop forehand flex to give myself a nice flex through the gap and then finish hard right at the end. Something just like that. That's pretty much exactly what I'm going for. That was pretty much golden. Try one more, similar shot. That one's a little early, but well, looks like I got lucky through the early gap. So we'll see where those went, but the first one was more pure, hit the line, hit the gap, and then skipped. The second one kind of got lucky through an early gap. Never want to play on luck. I want to try to hit the gap, high percentage gap as much as possible, and that's going to lead to consistent good scores. Luck always runs out eventually. It's not a sustainable strategy. This hole is pretty weird. As you can see, I threw pretty much as good a drive as you can, and you got like a very tiny gap straight in front of me. I don't even know if I'm going to go down there. I might just throw a forehand roller because that's a tiny gap. The forehand roller on the second shot might be the play. I'm going to throw one of each though, just to see which one I like better. Throw a forehand roller first. Kind of see what happens there. Kind of want to, forehand roller, this one's going to want to go left early, so I want to keep the flight plate down, so that way when it hits the ground, it's going to want to cut hard left. Especially since this hill's going right, so it's going to want to keep my disc straight and not let it turn, so I got to counter it by putting a little more angle than I would normally put on it. Oh shoot. Not quite enough angle, but it should be all right if it cooks back anytime soon. That looks like it might be a little deep, so I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try just going down the middle with the harp here. Oh, turn it. Okay. Turn it past the first tree. Not bad. Got a putt. This hole is not going to be birdied that often. I can already tell you that much because of how challenging it is. If I can throw into this spot, this seems like the best spot on the hole, really. Most open spot. So I'm going to throw one from here just for fun. Still don't have the best lie, but I'm going to try to see where I can land. That one looks really good. So yeah, that's kind of the early lucky shot. That's where I landed. So it's not a very high percentage shot, but I still want to see where I could land it from there. This hole has lots of trees. Even it's the kind of type of hole where you're in the fairway and you're still scrambling. So very challenging. Brings us to hole 13. We got a 584 foot par 4 straight through the Y hole, or straight through the Y tree, which is a pretty signature tree out here. Throw through the Y tree and kind of fade left just past that long grass, put you in a good position. I'm gonna probably throw some sort of felon or criminal shot off the tee. I'm gonna start off with just by throwing a kind of a flex criminal. Just try to throw it right nice and through the gap here. Just something like that. That's pretty much, that's gold right there. Now I'm gonna throw a clear, my invisible criminal I call it, because I lose it all the time. Similar flight as that blue one. Oh, I didn't turn it quite enough that time, but it might be all right. Looks like actually that's really good. I didn't think I turned it quite enough. Now this one I'm gonna kind of have to put more hyzer on. This is the felon. Another good shot. So all three were good. Happy with that. I don't throw a distance driver on this one just because if you get real fast, skippy green up there, you can actually go OB left and long. So I want to take that out of play by throwing a fairway driver. So here's my first blue one. Looks like a pretty solid shot. Looks like we're going to be throwing a little softy forehand harp here, just to pierce the gap. We don't want to go long because there is OB long. So it's more just a smooth hit the gap and not really hit it with any speed type of shot. Just like that. Yep, not much speed. So yeah, didn't hit anything. Still didn't go OB. So that's kind of name of the game right on this hole. And I'm gonna throw one from my other shot, my other clear, invisible criminal. It even looks like it's even in a better spot. So I'm gonna throw a nice softy smooth little dagger approach. So yeah, got the backhand dialed, got the forehand dialed. Wherever I land on this hole, I'm ready to go. Like I said, you want to have speed control because we got this OB creek here. I didn't quite reach it obviously with this dagger, but it's definitely something you want to think about. So that is definitely a speed control shot. Whether you're throwing backhand or forehand, you got to be cautious of it. So that is hole 13. All right, hole 14, 556 par 4. We got a really tight gap. On holes like this, I like to aim at this, I don't normally like to aim at trees, but when the gap is this small, I almost like to aim at this right tree with a little bit of ante. And I know my disc is gonna hopefully turn into the middle of the gap by the time it gets through there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw 2 rives. These are both pink. These are my more stable rives. And like I said, I'm gonna be focused on this angle control here just because I don't want to hit that with a little bit of flex and then come back out at the end. So a little bit of ante at that tree. Just like that. That's gold. Oh, bad luck, but I mean, that was exactly what I wanted. Perfect shot, perfect speed, perfect everything. So yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. I'm gonna try one more shot. Same exact shot. Yeah, I mean, I keep clicking things, but I'm hitting that gap absolutely perfect. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm not too result oriented. I hit the gap, laced the line, got bad luck, but I mean, in the long run, those shots are gonna work out. So that's all you can do on holes like this. Wow, this one's a pretty tricky little shot here. Tight, very tight gap. It's not the distance, it's just the way that the off-centered trees, as you guys know, the off-centered shots, when it's tight and narrow and it's off-centered, is probably some of the hardest shots to hit, the gaps. So just really trying to do my best to hit the gap. It's a small gap, but angle control is super important on these. A little bit too high. So that might be actually OB. There's a ditched creek down there. So I threw it high and I'm going downhill. So if it's going high, it's gonna wanna fade way to the right. So I'm gonna counter that by throwing a little bit more ante this time and hopefully not fading too far to the right. See, that was a better angle. Just like I said, the gap is so small. It's a tricky shot. Oh, hit the last tree and bounce back. I mean, that's kind of this hole in a nutshell. You can throw great shots and end up with a bogey, which is what I would be doing if that was my tournament shot. But I threw great shots, minus the one that hit the tree right here. So yeah, I'm walking away with this hole. I'm walking away from this hole with a lot of positive muscle memory, and that's, for me, that's all that matters. Putt a couple from up here. As you can see, if you hit anything early, this second shot becomes so much harder. You want to try to get past as many trees in the fairway as you can, and that's what makes your second shot so much easier. All right, hole 15, 487 par 4, straight uphill. Once again, it's not about the distance because you got the uphill. It's probably playing about 550 to 600 feet again. It's not actually playing 480. So yeah, we got a tough uphill shot. It's gonna stable out your disc a bunch, and I'm gonna go with the trespass. This is normally my roller disc, but uphill, it's gonna fly like a nice, just regular, seasoned fair distance driver. So I'm gonna throw it with hyzer and know that the under stability is still going to go a little bit right, but not too much because of the uphill. Too much a little bit, but actually ended up being all right. So that one's a little too flippy for that shot, but I'm going to throw one more. I'm going to throw a beat up evader on a similar shot. It's just not going to flip quite as much, I'm hoping. So that one's still not bad. It's to hit something, but it's still in a good spot. I'm gonna try a mid-range. Just try one of my the Albert Time mid-ranges, a trust, and try to almost throw it right at that camera guy. Yep, pretty much the ideal spot right there. So yeah, you can throw a driver, you can throw mid-range, fairway, whatever you want, whatever you feel most comfortable with hitting this gap. And getting up there for into that landing zone. All right, this is the mid-range. I can pretty much just go standstill from here, but I'm gonna go with the felon so I can get that extra distance. I would normally throw heart, but since it's going uphill, my nose is gonna be up and it's gonna not allow me to get the distance I want. So I'm gonna have to throw a felon. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so that's a great shot. I'm gonna throw a harp just to kind of see the difference in speed to show you guys. So you can see how kind of that's probably 20 or 30 short, and that felon kind of penetrated a lot better and got up there quicker for probably a bullseye putt. So that's the difference between the two speeds when you're going uphill like that. And that one actually wasn't a bad spot. I'm actually gonna throw one from there as well, because if I happen to turn it over, I might land here. So I'm just gonna throw a nice smooth dagger turnover kind of deal. So yeah, that was a really good shot. So got the turnover down, got the felon / harp from the fairway. We got it going on. So as you can see, the harp here, I have a feeling it might have hit a tree. But even if it didn't, it still probably would have been 20, 30 short instead of now it's 45. And you can see the felon got parked. So that's the difference when you're going uphill, the difference between a putter like the harp on the upshot and throwing a little faster. Even though I'm throwing standstill, I still want to get some speed. Whoa, that was a weird reaction. All right, hole 16, 969 foot par 5, probably the most attackable, most eagleable par 5 on the course. Mostly open, got a little bit of OB on the right-hand side. I'm gonna try to throw a nice hyzer over top of the OB and kind of fade back towards the fairway and get myself a chance to attack the landing zone on the second shot and give myself a chance for eagle. I'm gonna go with my Lucid Raider. It's a good spot. Try one more. Another good spot. All right, first shot, we're in a good spot, a little bit left side. I think left center fairway is good because then that kind of sets you up for the hyzer. We got a little bridge OB kind of creek short of the basket, and we got a little bit of a right to left wind. So I'm gonna go out wide of this bush. I normally would go left of it, but since we got a right to left, I gotta make the adjustment and go wide I have to throw it a little harder because anytime you're going wider and higher than you normally want, it's gonna cut off distance. So you gotta add power when you're going wider and higher. And so I'm gonna throw a little bit straighter of an enforcer. My Lucid Orbit Ice is gonna be more overstable, but this one's gonna have more glide, so I'm gonna go with this one to get that extra distance. And I'm just trying to lay up short, about 40 to 50 feet short of the basket. Like, that seems pretty good to me. We'll see when we get up there. So just from feel, throwing the shot a lot, I think that's gonna be good. It might be even in the creek, it might be a little too good, but it felt good out of my hand, which is the most important thing. And this is my second one. This was my Ballista Pro. It's a little bit, I just threw it a little better, hit a little better angle, rode the wind better. So I got a little extra, probably 40 extra feet out of it. But yeah, this hole, it's just like a double hyzer. I like it. Normally I wouldn't like it on a course, but since there's so many wooded holes here, there's a little bit out of bounds, it makes you think. And so this is just kind of lets you bomb a shot out there because it feels like you've been handcuffed in the woods for a lot of this back nine. All right, just like I thought, my second shot is here. It's just inside circle 2, probably about 45, 50 feet. This hole on the second shot, it's really hard to throw it inside circle 1 because you got the creek and a really tight, narrow green. I'm not really even trying to throw it inside circle 1. I'm kind of just trying to throw it at this distance because it's nice and safe, far enough away from the creek, but still gives me a birdie putt to where I can make it. Oh, almost the eagle, but try a couple more. There's one. So we got one. 1 for 3 on the eagle chance if I land there. I like my chances there. But yeah, this is a fun hole. It's not necessarily, you're not going to see a lot of bogeys on it, but you'll, from the top players, you'll see probably more eagles than you will bogeys from the top groups. And I think that's what makes it exciting. Try to get that separation with that eagle. All right, hole 17, 287 foot par 3. This is probably the most Idlewild hole out here. We got a snaking river all the way through the hole. And yeah, everyone talks about how often they land in the creek on this hole. It's tricky, you hit a tree, everything seems to just filter towards the creek. So it's a 287 foot hole, but I'm probably gonna only try to throw a shot about 230, 40 feet into the short right landing zone, just so that way I'm not bringing the creek into play as much. So throw a slammer, my new Sockibomb Rafter Eye, the premium plastic slammer. These things are money. Oh, not when you throw them bad, but they are. But I'm gonna try one more here. I'm gonna try a harp. I'm just gonna try actually a standstill here. There we go, that's better. So that's kind of more what I'm going for. That's about a 50 footer safe with no OB in play. All right, so we got my drive here. As you can see, this creek kind of goes all the way around the basket, so you're taking on tons of risk. And I want to just land safe and give myself the chance for birdie. I'm just gonna give it a nice soft bid. I'm not gonna be able to fire a line drive at it just because of the OB behind it. So I'm just gonna kind of work an elevator down to try to, something like that, to where if I miss, I'm still safe. Ooh. There we go. But yeah, just a nice soft speed, elevator down and drop it in. But yeah, I play the safer play, and it's not really safer. I'm still trying to get a birdie. I'm just playing a little less aggressive on the drive and then being aggressive on the putt to try and make the birdie. All right, hole 18, we got 650 par 4, over a hill, down a hill, and then back up to the right with a protected bushes by the basket. The biggest thing about this hole is it looks like you're going uphill, but you're actually coming back downhill. So it's kind of like, you know, double terrain. So I'm gonna go with the mid-range and just kind of float it. Once it gets over the hill, it has a tendency to wanna go back and hyzer left because your natural nose angle going uphill is gonna be nose up. So it's gonna be nose up and it's gonna wanna hyzer out more than you normally would if it was a flat ground. So that one's gonna turn a little bit, but not enough. You see how I kind of like hyzered a lot at the end. So I'm gonna throw this one, it's a little bit flippier, so this one should follow the fairway a little bit better. That wasn't a bad shot, just hyzered a little bit too much at the end. That one's way better. See how it has time to hyzer? Yeah, that's gonna be right down the fairway. See, I turned it, and then once it got on the right side and rode, it faded back because of the downhill at the end. All right, so we'll go to my first shot, the one that kind of faded off left. As you can see, I'm starting to bring more trees into play the more I fade out left. The second one's right in the middle, but this first one's got a lot more of a tight gap to work with. So that's the benefit to being a little bit further right, which is sometimes hard to do on this hole, as you can see with all the trees and tight, narrow angles we got here. This one, I'm gonna try to throw like some sort of like super choppy forehand through this gap. It's gonna go ahead and turn, come back. Oh wow, that was a beautiful shot. That was a really good shot from there. Yeah, as you can see, everything's falling this way, so my disc is naturally gonna wanna turn right because this hill is taking me right, so I had to counter it by just chopping it, throwing a bunch of angle on it, and I end up throwing a bullseye. That's a good way to finish. Now I'm gonna throw one from the fairway, which is obviously ideal. I'm gonna just throw one of my felons here and just do a small, smooth run up. I'm really just trying to throw almost into that tree by the basket, because that leaves you like inside the circle putt, but obviously I want to go just a little bit under it is ideal. Something just like that, maybe a little higher. So I'm a little short. That one's a little shorter than I wanted, but I'll throw one more with this mid-range. There we go, that's good. Should go underneath the limb, yeah, and it should be par. So got a decision to make if I land in the middle, if I'm gonna throw a mid-range or if I'm gonna throw a fairway low. So yeah, I love this course. I think it's definitely a shot shaping course. You gotta throw all the shots. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of the course we played last week, Northwoods Black. In the woods, 95% of the holes are in the woods. I think there's only 2 or 3 that aren't. And yeah, it's you gotta think on every shot. Think about what lines you wanna hit, where the OBs are, where you wanna putt from. And I think it just makes you think, and it tests your mental game, because you're not gonna throw a perfect shot every time. You're gonna be out of position, and it's gonna be how you handle adversity, how you handle bad kicks and bad breaks. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go tap in my last couple birdie putts from here. And thanks again for following me around here at Idlewild, and we'll see you next week.